Let's see. Get rid of this. Are we clear to leave the big cat? Get some movement so you can see it on the radar. All right, that's brown. Hang on. I got to turn the IFB down. Orange is Baldwin Park, by the way, so. All right, I got nothing. I got Baldwin Park all the way up. We play with the. Are we clear to head that direction? Because we are heading that direction. Hang on. Oh, I thought I heard it. I didn't. Still not requesting CHP. Somebody is in pursuit. West 1057, copy all. I did hear them say somebody's in pursuit. I didn't hear who. And they're not requesting CHP. Fontana. They're not going to let it go. 1057, yeah, 605. If they're passing the 57, let's, yeah, just head to the 10. Yep. The end of the week pursuit. Buckle up. Oh. Let's see if any of my snitches are talking. Yes, yes, I can speak. Thank you. Guys and gals, if you have any information that might be helpful, we're going to just pick up the 10 and head the opposite direction. Number 1 lane traffic lights. I think you said no weapons. Might be an aircraft over it. It sounds like he's over it. Okay. How far out is he? Okay. All right, he's still a good distance. He's not even at the 605 then. All right. Oh, so he's in that long stretch. He's like by the Covinas. All right. What happened to the IFB? SkyFOX, TOC, we'd like some IFB, please. No IFB for you. No distractions, Stu. I wish it was like that, but it's not. IFB. Thank you. So the issue with hot mic, not hot mic, and why wouldn't I want anybody that's watching to or listening or following along not to know? Where is he coming up on? Okay. Yeah, we're going to be there in a second. We've got a lot of traffic coming up. 210. Oh. Oh, okay. Those are the people that are coming to help. I'm sorry, Melissa. What was that? The scanner blew you out. Oh my goodness. Yes, we know. Thank you. That one we got. Thank you. 10 minutes behind the pursuit. They're coming up into like a lot of traffic. I'm looking. I do not see anything jumping out at me. What's it? They're going to give the 20 right now. Dylan. Still westbound. There he is. Got him. Is it the truck? It's got to be the truck. It's a white pickup truck. Yep, that's it. That guy looks like he's in pursuit. Very Fontana-ish. That's it. If anybody cares, anybody knows, that is definitely the vehicle. Do we know what the want was, Melissa? And of course, the IFB's still up. Really? Oh, come on, dude. There he is. Huh? Interesting choice of clothing. Yeah, he's telling us no. No. Yeah, I wish I'd be fluent in that. No. Dude, pay attention to the road, buddy. I'm turning the scanner down. Somebody talking at me? Uh-oh. Roxia. I got to get serious. That's a nice truck. Yeah, I think he definitely knows we're here. There's no doubt about it. Wasn't me. Nope. He's setting up his defense right now. He's like, see, right there, you can clearly see that I was saying it wasn't me. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I know our other friends like all this other stuff up here. Sorry. Pardon me? They said they were going to stay farther back, but I guess not. Yeah. That was the last thing I heard. They were saying they were going to stay about half a mile behind, which was quite a lot, but hey, Araxia. Good afternoon. Dylan informed me earlier on the first story that we went to that it's afternoon, not morning. Right. I don't know. He's going to stay. Well, he's in the carpool, so I don't know. I don't think there is a carpool transition on this one. Yeah, so he's pretty, unless he cuts all the way over, which he could. I mean, uh-oh, I'm going to lose him. Stu, don't say things like that. Have a positive attitude. There he goes. He's getting over. Maybe he did want to take the 605. If you're wondering on the internet why I'm being so quiet right now, I'm patiently waiting to join the internet show. And if you guys are local, however you're watching us, that's fantastic. But you got to give a little. Oh, never mind. Well, this where we are right now, as I have it up right there, River East, you know what, I would venture to say El Monte is actually pretty much more the city that anybody that from around here is going to know. We're headed westbound on the 10 freeway, and clearly it speeds about 70 miles an hour. Stolen vehicle, that's what this is all about. It's a pursuit. Started out in Fontana. Fontana PD got behind it, been on this all whole time. California Highway Patrol, they're the ones that got us involved because they were talking on the radio about how they knew there was a pursuit on the freeway, but they were not. That is not requested to join in. So Fontana PD, they got this. They're going to take care of it. They're going to follow it to the end. The big thing is hopefully everybody's going to be okay. The driver of that truck just rolled up his windows, probably to hear us better. I'm not really sure, but we did get a good look at him. It seems to be a single male inside there, nobody else inside the truck, and a little agitated. That would be the best way to describe that person. Fidgety, moving around, and you can see those erratic moves on that steering wheel with that truck every now and then, kind of jerking between the lanes. As far as speeds go, I'm just noticing it. I just looked over. They're really starting to bump up. For a while there, we were going slower than freeway speeds in the 50s and the 40s. Was it traffic? Was it not traffic? I'm not sure. There he goes. He's bringing that window down again. Then this is what I'm talking about. Very fidgety. This person. The original want, though, why they wanted to get behind him, how this pursuit started, carjacking. That's the information we're getting right now. But I did hear them clearly say earlier on, no weapons seen. So possibly this was just a crime of opportunity. That vehicle might have been sitting somewhere running. This person got in, drove off with it. But Fontana PD, they got notified quickly. They spotted it quickly, and then that pursuit was on. Roxia?
So, Stu, I am noticing, and the viewers watching right now, this individual constantly taking his hand out there from the window, and I don't know what kind of signs they are, but he's definitely trying to, I don't know, send a message or just communicate, or I'm not sure what he's doing.
You know, the only thing I can say about the signs that I'm seeing right there are those are some sort of gang signs. And again, not 100%. Maybe he is listening to us, because it really does seem like he's corresponding to whatever we're saying. But you know, I've seen this, and again, only seen it on documentary. In prison, that's how they communicate between each other when they're in those cells. They'll stick their hands out there, and they have like a sign language that they use to communicate back and forth. Possibly that's what's going on right there. Clearly, this person a little bit of showboating. Clearly, if that is the case, kind of throwing out the signals and saying, hey, that's me, I'm taking care of my business right here. But Fontana PD, they're not so concerned about what's going on there. They're more concerned with wanting to get this vehicle into custody. As I'm getting a little bit wider, I'm realizing that they may have fallen back a little bit again. Maybe Dylan's got eyes on them. Dylan says they are back there, but originally when we pulled up, we did hear them talking to the to the airship. There is a helicopter over it that launched just for this. They were actually based out of Brackett. So when they made his way through Pomona, they did launch that helicopter, and they actually were talking to the helicopter saying they were going to fall back about a half a mile, which is a pretty good distance behind this vehicle. As when the helicopter got over it, is it tracking mode? It's a type of tracking mode. Let's call it tracking light, as it would be, because they are definitely still there. They are definitely still in pursuit, but they have fallen farther and farther back. As far as assistance from the California Highway Patrol, have not heard of that yet. Are they asking for it? No, but in that same breath, let me throw out there, we are hearing some coordinated efforts with California Highway Patrol. They are talking about bringing a K-9 unit possibly to this location, and other units that might have the spike strips and or are able to do some sort of pit maneuver. This is a big truck, Araxia, and clearly four-wheel drive, and I would venture to say diesel. A nice ride indeed. Is it going to be easy to pit? If we see it, we'll find out.
Yes, you did mention the driver, and anyone watching can notice, seems to be not only agitated, but also just a bit distracted. His behavior seems like someone who's not really paying attention to the road. And look at that. Both hands out of the window. Both hands out of the window. And going at high speeds. Obviously, the people down there likely have no idea what's going on, and again, that's what always makes us nervous when you have innocent bystanders involved in situations like this. But you mentioned that this was a carjacking, possibly a crime of opportunity. Perhaps this truck was left with the keys running, the keys in the engine running. No mention that we know of that a weapon was used, but obviously this individual is dangerous now that he is on the road. Do we know where the vehicle was possibly parked when it was taken? Was it from a residential area? Was it in a parking lot?
You know, Araxia, that would be a good question for our assignment desk. And again, couldn't they answer it? It would be difficult. If they could pull that information, I'm always impressed with our assignment desk, by the way. But I got to say, that would be a tough one. What I can tell you is that the carjacking was what they're saying. Fontana is the city where it came from. It's been on the freeways for quite some time. Clearly, we made our way from Fontana. We heard it. We were in Pasadena. If you viewers are interested, there's an actual mountain lion in the city of Pasadena out there as well. That was a story we were covering. And then we got the notification from from Melissa, actually, at the assignment desk that there was a pursuit. And we started trying to track it down. We did hear, like I said, some crosstalk on California Highway Patrol basically talking about it. But they were saying they were not getting involved, so we knew it was another agency. And then we started putting the pieces together, and then we did find it. Dylan, the pilot at the tiller flying SkyFOX today, basically was a key piece of that as well, because he heard that there was an aircraft launching. A police aircraft. We're still trying to work out who that is, but there is a law enforcement aircraft over it, and that's kind of what brought us to that location, and that's how we got here, and we're watching this right now. Now, clearly, this is a pursuit. It is, speed 70 miles an hour. You did mention safety. Safety is on the mind of all the law enforcement involved on this. I've said it all the time when we're on these chases. Law enforcement, they are concerned about the public. They're concerned about themselves, but they're also concerned about the driver of that vehicle, the suspect as it would be. They don't want to see anybody get hurt in any of these situations, and that is a daunting task, especially when you have somebody that does not want to be taken into custody, has custody of a vehicle like this, a heavy vehicle like this, moving at speeds just a tad over freeway speeds. Let's be real. If anybody drives in California, 76 on the 10 freeway, 75 miles an hour, we all do it. But in this case, this person is a little agitated. He also is probably looking in that rearview mirror and also has other things on his mind, like you said, when he was throwing out those signs out the window, not holding the steering wheel. That all adds into this into the equation of being very dangerous. Now, as far as the law enforcement, we do know they did back off, but the law enforcement helicopter, is still above it. If I figure out who that is, I will give the PD 20. That's going to be again. Is that Ontario? Might be Ontario PD. That's actually joining the pursuit right now. But again, they're talking to the Fontana PD units that are down there, and that is also being heard by other law enforcement. Whatever city we're in. We're already in Boyle Heights, so I'm sure the sheriff's department is aware that this is in its area. Boyle Heights is LAPD, Stu. Thank you. I know that, other Stu. But at any rate, Roxia, we're going to keep an eye on it. We're still moving along. I can tell you, Boyle Heights, 10 freeway, we're going to start getting into some interchanges, and we're going to start getting into some traffic.
Well, I was about to comment on the fact that there is not many cars on the road. I'm speaking from my own experience this morning, being stuck on the 405. We know backup was up to 2 hours. So this freeway is very much open, and this is allowing the suspect to just cruise through. Wait a minute. Is he communicating with that car? For a minute, it looked like...
you know what? You've got much better eyes than I. I did not see any of that, but he's still moving along.
He slowed down
at a pretty good clip. Other cars, take a look at that. Yes. It is starting to slow down, and anybody that drives the 10 Boyle Heights, you're going to be making your way over to the downtown area. And, everybody knows it. Take that carpool. If you drive this, the carpool will get you into that downtown area a lot quicker. Clearly not on the carpool right now. And as far as traffic goes, we're going to be seeing a lot of that in just a few moments. I wonder if the Fontana PD is going to make themselves known as we get into that traffic, because if they have fallen back, there's the beginning of that traffic right there. Mm-hmm. If they have fallen back that far, they're gonna catch up, because traffic is coming to a stop right now. We're going to see this guy try to make some maybe make aggressive moves. Hopefully not. Little bit, changing his mind there. He definitely has a little bit of that breakdown lane available, but it kind of goes away. Did he get onto the off-ramp? No, he didn't. And that's what I was talking about. There's Fontana.
Exit coming up. Yep, we see the police cruisers right there.
Yeah.
Is there an exit coming up? If you widen out a little bit. He looks like
I'm sorry, what was that, Araxia?
If there was an exit coming up, but it looks like he's still sticking to the left lane there.
Yeah, there are some exits in this area, but it's going to be a lot of heavy traffic. But this is the thing. It's law enforcement. We know all the law enforcement around us. Fontana, we don't usually cover their pursuits. LAPD, they have very strict policies on being aggressively blocking in a vehicle, and so does the sheriff's department, especially in a pursuit type of situation. Fontana, I'm not sure what their policies are, but you can clearly see not trying to get ahead of him, not trying to block him in. And again, this is a very powerful truck, four-wheel drive, diesel, and you can clearly see it's got some girth to it. That's probably a 2500. And again, moving along there, making his way, making his own lanes. As far as the drivers around him, like you said before, clearly a lot of these folks have no idea what's going on. The Fontana PD, we do see the lights. I wish we could hear if they have sirens. And if they do have sirens, at least some of these folks might know, hey, there's something going on. We need to get over to let the law enforcement through. That might be what's happening right there. But again, if he gets off the street, if he gets off the freeway out here in the downtown area, it's going to be tough, especially if he makes his way into the buildings. But as far as Fontana PD goes, I'm curious why they're not asking. Again, I shouldn't say that because, I'm the guy in the helicopter watching it. They have their reasons why they're not asking for any assistance. But right now, this pursuit definitely in the the city of Los Angeles. And again, no assistance from California Highway Patrol, no assistance from LAPD.
Just really distracted and fascinated by what he's trying to communicate. Obviously,
yeah.
I am just concerned
this
about
seems to
these
be
drivers that are going to get in his way.
Yeah, definitely. I'm right there with you, Araxia, and as far as we've been watching it all together. This has kind of been the what's been going on since we picked it up in the Covinas. Just a lot of that. So clearly, giving a shout out to his people. As far as the lanes go, he's again fidgety. That's the best way to describe it. He'll hit the gas, he'll slow down. He'll hit the gas, he'll slow down. Now he's come to a complete stop. Now he's trying to make conversation with somebody. I'm not sure what that was all about. And now, again, speeding up, slamming on the brakes. The folks around him, I'd be worried. I'd be worried if it was me. I'd kind of be like, you know what, let's give this guy some distance. There you go. That's going to be the first off-ramp, and it looks like we're not taking it. So we're going to be continuing on onto the 101 now. That 10 turns into the 101 up here. Going to be on the northern part of downtown, right by Hooper Heliport. And when I say LAPD not around or CHP not around, I got to be clear. They know about this. They are not requested, meaning they have to be. Fontana has to say, hey, you guys, we're in your area. Come take this over. And they're clearly not saying that. This is not the first time he's gotten off the freeway, by the way. He did that in the Covina area. I thought it was going to be on surface streets. He got off the freeway, he got right back on, but definitely getting off the freeway now in the downtown area.
Okay, and it looks like we are let's see, this cross street here. Where is he going to turn? He's turning on...
Oh, it's Alameda.
Alameda, okay.
Alameda.
We have about 3 or 4 police cruisers right behind him. So this is the time where, now that we're on surface streets, it could be a matter of time until they do try to attempt to perhaps do the spike strips. This would be the time to perhaps deploy that.
Roxy, that would be, between you and I, that would be the perfect plan. How are they going to do that? That's going to be the difficult part, because that would have to be LAPD. One of these Fontana units would have to get ahead of that vehicle. They'd have to have some sort of idea, have an idea where this car is going. So it's a lot of coordination to get that to happen. Now, as far as if they ask for interagency help, in this case, LAPD, apparently LAPD now on the way. That's what I'm getting. And so this might change up a lot in the next couple of minutes. Is it going to turn into a rodeo? Is it going to turn? No, probably not. But if they ask for LAPD's assistance, they will have that opportunity to throw out those spike strips, and that might just be enough to bring this to an end. Right now, waiting for a light, which is courteous. You've got a pedestrian running across the street. And now we're starting to move across there. Again, I would venture to say those guys, lights and sirens, making a lot of noise. All the civilians out there, they are,
At least they're aware.
Just doing what they need to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they're definitely aware.
It's interesting to me that he's stopping and obeying some of the traffic rules and thankfully waited for that pedestrian to cross the street. Now doing a U-turn.
Definitely. Yep. And you can see how close these guys are, and I gotta wonder if it is the size of the vehicle that's keeping them from doing a pit maneuver. Is it the fact that we're outside our city jurisdiction? There's a lot that those officers have to contend with when they make that decision. It isn't I don't like to say it like that, but it isn't a video game. It isn't like, hey, we're just going to, see an opportunity and pounce and try to, ram this truck and bring it to a stop. It doesn't work like that in real life, and especially if you're law enforcement. There's a lot of rules, there's a lot of regulations, and this is the first time we get a peek inside the passenger side. Everybody always asks, are they in there by themselves? Oop, we lost them behind Alameda. He's going down Alameda. We're going to lose some of these bigger buildings here in a second, and I have a feeling Dylan is going to move us closer here in a second. But right now he's on Alameda. If he makes a U-turn, it's going to be a little tough for us, but we're going to wait and see if he pops out. But there he goes. There he goes. So now we're going to be southbound on Alameda, making our way south. The buildings are going to continually be a little bit of an issue. Dylan, if we can move a little bit more over it, that'd be great. And I'm sure he's working on that too. Dylan is the guy when it comes to pursuits. He is the guy to have flying SkyFOX. So we'll keep an eye on the vehicle. There he is, and continuing southbound again. As far as the LAPD, let's take a look. Did they do the swap out? Oh, it's going to be the California Highway Patrol. These are the guys we heard about earlier on that I said, the K-9 unit that was trying to catch up to this. I don't know why they felt that they're going to need the K-9 unit here. Maybe they thought it's going to become a standoff, but or this guy might get out and actually physically run when he gets to a certain location. But definitely that's what we heard earlier on, and now they're here. That's a big plus. But as far as this vehicle stopping, haven't seen it. More traffic, that's scary. Tighter streets, that's a problem. Law enforcement, these guys are professionals, and they're going to keep it professional, and we're going to keep an eye on it and see where this goes.
I will say the somewhat, if you could call it comforting factor, is he has slowed down and is driving.
Definitely.
As I say, about to say, he's driving more carefully. He's going the opposite direction now, where traffic is headed in his direction. But for the most part, he's not as erratic as he was on the freeway.
Not erratic. Well, he's still a little twitchy. I just saw him do that again right there. This is the interesting thing. I always see these on these pursuits, and it's one of those that I don't think people really understand it. This guy basically just ran a red light back there and, did his thing. But the law enforcement,
you see that?
He definitely is.
It's almost like I jinxed it.
Yep, definitely saw it. Yeah. Roxy, that's my line. I always say that. I always say it's coming to an end and then it goes forever, or if it's like, oh, this is going to go forever, and then they just stop. But law enforcement still has to follow the rules. That was a red light. This guy, both those units stopped, waited for it to be clear, and then made their way through there. Even with their lights and sirens on, they had to catch up. But as far as this goes, we're still heading southbound on Alameda. And, how are they going to bring it to an end? That is the big question. Maybe the truck's going to run out of fuel. Maybe this person's just going to make that decision. Roxia might be right. Maybe they're going to get ahead of it, especially if it's California Highway Patrol, and get those spike strips in place. If he stays on Alameda, there's a good chance of that, because there's some unincorporated LA that we're coming into that is actually patrolled by the California Highway Patrol.
You know, you
perhaps,
say fidgety and twitchy, the driving style, very unpredictable. It almost feels as though, although we've seen him driving for a while now, that it seems like this is his style of driving. Sometimes when people seem uncertain, it's because they're in an unfamiliar area and they can't decide which way to go, which turn to take, because they're not familiar with this area. But with this guy, it's tough to tell if that's the case or if it's just him being fidgety from the get-go.
Fidgety from the get-go. Perhaps he's listening to some music and just getting into the vibe of the music as he's driving along there. He's making a turn now. And we got a big building right there. I feel Dylan making some. This is another thing too. It's all perspective. He's making it. We're making a heck of a move right now. Dylan's really working SkyFOX to catch up. Looks like we're working really slow, but believe me, that was a fast move. Good job, Dylan. And continuing on, that's going to be the 10 freeway right there as we're making our way under it. Is he going to try to get back on? Yay! He missed the on-ramp. So, you'll have other opportunities. But as far as it's going, we're staying on the surface streets right now. California Highway Patrol picked it up. They're going to try to bring this thing to an end. It's going to be a tough one. It really will. I wonder if LAPD might break out the spike strips, kind of do a coordinated, he was going south on Alameda for a good amount of time. But it does definitely seem like this is more showboating for this guy than anything else. Continuing with the hand signals out the window, if that's a sign language, we can call it that. But slow going, kind of almost taunting officers, and then, like you said, speeds up, kind of makes those hard turns on that steering wheel, back and forth, twitching, and then like just kind of just rolling around down there. As far as law enforcement, like I said, I don't think California Highway Patrol is going to block this person in. I don't think that's part of their policy, especially when it comes to a pursuit and a heavy vehicle like that. As far as it goes right now, very slow moving. Downtown Los Angeles, we're going to be in the very industrial part of downtown. Is that a plus or a minus? I can't really say. All these other vehicles around them, they don't know what's going on. This could turn very quickly, though. There's always that. This, it just puts his foot in it, and it could become a totally different situation. Right now, it looks like we're moving along and continuing on. I believe we're going to be on Olympic. And we'll see where this takes us, Araxia.
What's in the back of that, the truck there? It looks like is it just garbage? I can't tell.
Yeah. Looks like
tools?
a bag, some wood. There might be something. It might be just they wrap something in some tarp or something like that. At first, I thought that was a horse on the window.
I think it's a dog.
It did come out of Fontana. I thought maybe this was a ranch vehicle. Yeah, it looks more like a dog. Mm-hmm. But it's continuing on. And again, I would venture to say this guy just taunting. This is kind of like a taunt. This is
I feel like, Stu, it could also be, this is obviously us speculating, but just his behavior, he could also be on some kind of substance.
Yes, definitely. There's no doubt about that. But again, we can't say. You just don't know. But I would venture to say maybe not in the right state of mind for driving a vehicle. Also, it's like you got to think to yourself, what state of mind do you have to be in to take somebody's vehicle and then get into a pursuit? So, whatever that state of mind is, clearly we're witnessing it right now. California Highway Patrol right behind them. Lights and sirens probably helpful to any of these folks that are on the roadway. At least they know some kind of emergency is happening. This vehicle moving 57, I'm venturing to say, on Olympic Boulevard. Well, now we're dropping back down again. But at any rate, he's kind of blending with traffic. So that portion makes it a little bit more difficult for people on the roadway down there. The only plus I can say is pretty much at every one of these red lights, he has stopped. And those are the ones that I always worry about when you go through those intersections. Even if you're just going, 40 or 30, through an intersection. If it's a green light for somebody else, of course they're going to be looking, but do you think somebody's just going to go cruising through there? Probably not. And that's where we see a lot of these accidents, and that's where we see a lot of injuries to civilians or people that are just on the roadway. And I always worry when we go through that. But it does seem like this guy has continually stopped at every red light, which is a plus, but then he goes into the wrong side of the road. He's doing it again right now, just probably trying to get up ahead, or, you got some slower vehicles in.
And trying to avoid traffic, going around traffic.
Yeah,
it seems like he's trying to go around traffic.
Yeah.
Oftentimes with these pursuits, we always talk about, most of the time, people who are being pursued try to go into neighborhoods that they're familiar with or an area that they know somewhat well. It's a little difficult to tell if this person knows this area well, just judging by the driving style, which leads you to believe that they don't, but we never know. He very well could.
Yeah, he very well could. I mean, just because it started in Fontana doesn't mean that this person isn't from Los Angeles. We're making our way back into Boyle Heights, again, staying on Olympic Boulevard. I know it's going to get a lot more busier. I'm not going to lose the car, but you definitely got somebody down there on a cell phone. And, that that type of stuff is pretty much frowned upon by all law enforcement. They don't like it when the public starts really getting involved, especially down there on the ground. Everybody seems to think like this is kind of like an event, but you just don't know who this person is. You don't know. Maybe just because we didn't see a gun doesn't mean he doesn't have a gun. Doesn't mean that he might not choose to or not see you if you walk up to the truck. There's a lot of stuff going on. All law enforcement, I've always said, they do not want the public's help when it comes to like an actual pursuit. Of course, if he's out running, please, by all means, point it out. Say there's a guy hiding underneath a bush over there or whatever it might be. But during the chase, they definitely don't need anybody out there, especially not with their cell phones and trying to get in the way of what is going on, because you just don't know what the mindset is of that guy behind the wheel of that vehicle that is fleeing from law enforcement. Looks like we're making a hard turn here. Are we going to get... Now it looks like we made a turn on the Telegraph, so that's going to be the 5 freeway down there. Maybe we're going to get back on the freeway. We'll find out here in just a few moments.
I will say, observing this, ever since he's been off the freeway, it's pretty much stuck to the main arteries there in a town, not into side streets or residential streets.
Yeah. And that's a plus, I guess. But it also kind of leads me to believe that I'm going to put, if it was, I'm going to put my money on does not know exactly where he is, because he's staying on all these major arteries. He hasn't gotten into any neighborhoods. If this person was going to flee or had a plan, like usually we see them get into a neighborhood, jump out of the car, run through some backyards. We haven't seen any of that. Right now, Telegraph, anybody that knows this area, major artery out here. We're going to be, if we continue this way, we're going to be getting very close to, look, he's got both hands out the window again. And a cell phone. What? Oh, it's a drink.
Oh.
Yeah, look at that. He's got a Stanley Cup. All right.
Well, it might not be his, but.
I thought you were going to say it might not be a Stanley Cup. Anyways.
Well, that too.
Yeah, definitely. It might not have been. Might have been inside that vehicle when he took it. But at any rate, definitely this is a lot of showboating. This is a lot of come and get me type of attitude, which is not what law enforcement wants to see. Making his way through a very, very industrial area over here. There's been a couple of opportunities to get onto the freeway. We haven't seen him do that yet. But then as soon as I say it, Araxia, maybe no. Nope. And we're continuing on. Now we're going to be, clearly you can see it. I was just going to say we're making our way back over to East Los Angeles. And again, law enforcement, California Highway Patrol, they're tasked with bringing this thing to an end safely. I'm curious why they haven't done a pit maneuver yet. I would venture to say a truck like that, even though it is a 2500, if you get, that light bed on the back there, if it's done right, I venture to say it will it will spin around. It definitely would. But then again, I'm just a guy in the back of a helicopter watching the pursuit with everybody else.
From the close-up here, it's hard to tell, but there are still police cruisers behind him, right?
Let's take a peek. Yes, there they are.
Oh,
right
yes,
there. CHP.
Yep, caught up.
Yep, right there. Yep, right behind them.
Okay, so for people who are just joining us, by the way, just so they know, this is a stolen car, possible carjacking situation, and it started in Fontana, and it's been how long? When did this begin, Stu? It's been about,
my goodness.
I would say 11-ish?
Yeah, sometime no, we were in the air about noon. We've probably been on this a solid 60 minutes, and but the pursuit itself probably been going on longer than that because it was going for a few moments before we got there. So we've probably been over for more than probably 45 minutes. I'm getting an official 45 minutes right now. Officially.
We were on the air on GDLA Plus when we heard there was possibly a pursuit with a stolen vehicle, and that was in the 11 o'clock. So I was just trying to figure out when it all began. But yes, we've been over this for about 45 minutes, maybe coming close to an hour.
Close to an hour, yep, definitely. And California Highway Patrol, they're right behind them again. It's like I said, I'm curious why they're not just going to try to get up behind there and just tap that bumper, as it would be, and try to get this thing to spin around. That would definitely at least get that guy's attention. I don't think he doesn't know that law enforcement's behind him. I'm pretty sure he knows. But as far as him slowing down or stopping and just bringing this to an end, haven't seen that as of yet.
And here we go, just again trying to avoid traffic, going around traffic. The assumption is that the sirens are on and that people can hear, so they're at least made aware that there is a dangerous situation going on here. At least that's our hope. But while on these surface streets, for the most part, although blew past at least one red light and a few traffic violations, I have to say that at least he's not speeding through these intersections, and it is comforting because you have innocent people there on the road. Definitely.
That's the one positive that's been going on this since we started this adventure is he has been moving relatively slowly the entire time. When we were on the freeway, it was light traffic, to say the least, and he wasn't excessively speeding. He wasn't up into the triple digits. Haven't seen the triple digits at all. Somebody might say, oh, that truck, believe me, that diesel can easily get into the triple digits. But it's so not really driving very aggressively, just kind of annoying with those starts and stops and, moving that steering wheel back and forth erratically. As far as the California Highway Patrol, that was the closest I saw them get just a few moments ago. I was wondering if they were going to do something. I did see that sheriff's vehicle in the shot. I was wondering if maybe they were doing a deployment of spike strips. I didn't see that at all, and I haven't heard it either. But right now, continuing on, still staying in the East Los Angeles, Southgate area. And again, luckily to say, look at that. Pretty light traffic, and keeps going by the freeway and doesn't seem to be making any effort to get onto the freeway. I think this is really truly one of those ones where this guy has kind of resolved himself to the fact that when this is over, he's going to go into cuffs. He's going to be going into cuffs. Oh, what's going on here?
Oh,
what
was that?
I don't know.
Huh? Is that were they attempting?
Okay, I wasn't sure. He had the deck lit up. I was wondering maybe he was pulling out the spike strips, but I definitely didn't see any. Too. But looks like they are starting to coordinate some kind of plan to
he's speeding up.
Basically use some intervention, as it would be, to bring this to an end. Spike strips, perhaps. We haven't seen any attempt at a pit, so that is, I'm venturing to say we're probably not going to see that. But maybe we're going to see a spike strips deployment here in a moment or two. If they can get somebody that can be in the right place at the right time. That's always the difficult part. But if he stays on these long straightaways, now we're on Atlantic. If he stays on Atlantic long enough, somebody could get ahead of him and possibly be able to just deploy those spike strips. Look at this, look at this, look at this.
Oh, there's people.
Oh, look at that. They were basically saying, hey, let me help you out. Let me get you out of the way. Just so you know, I did lose the IFB, Roxia. I'm going to try to get that back. I'm going to hand it to you just for a few moments, and I'll let you know when I can hear you again.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate you saying that. Okay, I thought you were just ignoring me. Okay, so we are back. No, I was just mentioning that he had picked up speed at one point, but now we're getting into an area where it's a little bit more congested, so he's being forced to slow down.
Definitely, and Whittier Boulevard. I drive this street at least twice a month, and it's a great ride to go through a lot of little towns out here, a lot of stuff to see, and the one thing I always have to say, no matter what time, it's always got traffic, and there is a lot of pedestrian activity out here as well. This is kind of like small town East Los Angeles, and you definitely are seeing a lot of that extra traffic out there, like you said. And even though he's been driving slow, somebody might, just not be aware and make a turn or get out in front of him. Just, accidents happen, and we don't want to see any of that at all. You guys just saw the sign right there for Whittier Boulevard in East LA. But definitely getting into an area that's denser, more populated, also with pedestrians. I don't want to see anything like that. But the lights and sirens from the California Highway Patrol probably definitely going to be warning anybody that's in that area what's going on. And hopefully they're going to get that heads up and take the proper action. Actually, we're moving out of the Whittier, out of that area, making our way into East LA proper right there. So it's going to be a little bit less of that, but then it's going to get busy again here in just a moment or two. Now using that center lane again, but those speeds, 50, it's still dangerous. It still could be deadly.
Absolutely, especially when you have intersections where people, you have pedestrians crossing the street or even bicycling or just walking their dog, whatever it is. It is nerve-wracking to watch something like this, that's for sure. So
yeah.
I'm just trying to understand why, this is still a pursuit. Explain the difference, I guess, tracking mode and a pursuit situation, because what constitutes a tracking situation? When they completely back off and you can't see any police cruisers on the ground? Have not sat in on a briefing and have not been brought up on exact protocol, but I can tell you from watching and trying to understand what's going on. I'm going to give you the Stu take on what I think the difference is. When they go into tracking mode, that's usually when there's an aircraft overhead. So there'd be a helicopter up above. So they're going to go into tracking mode, and that would mean that the officers on the ground completely back off. The thinking or the logic or the reasoning behind it is that the lights and sirens and the fact that you have law enforcement right behind that vehicle is agitating the driver, as it should, in my opinion. But nobody's asking that. But so that the lights and sirens are causing the pursuit, or causing this vehicle to flee. Or to escalate
so what they do
to
is
a
they say, all right,
level. To escalate, to take
right.
the situation and make it more dangerous.
Yes. Definitely. So they tell the guys on the ground, the cars, turn off your lights and sirens, back off, so that the suspect can't see you in the rearview mirror. And we're going to follow him in the aircraft and constantly give you updates on where he is. You guys can go on parallel streets. You can stay nearby if it does come to a stop. But, the idea is to make it less dangerous, to have that driver of the vehicle be less agitated. But in this case, I would venture to say this is still a full-on pursuit. Those units down there, lights and sirens. It's still going down there, and so the people in the area definitely know what's going on. I can tell you we're probably coming up on coming up to Pioneer Chicken here in a moment or two. And if he stays on this, it's going to be quite a sight. We're going to have a pursuit on the 6th Street Bridge. But I don't want to get ahead of myself. Like you or Roxy, it seems like whenever I say something like that, it makes a turn and turns out to be something completely different. But I know for a fact if he stays on this road, we're going to be on 6th Street here in just a moment. And going across the bridge, we'll see what happens right there. Probably not going to do a pit maneuver there, even though it's wide open. But again, safety is the biggest concern. Safety is what all law enforcement is concerned about. And yeah, we're gonna lose him there for a moment or two. Dylan is dealing with other traffic in the area, law enforcement and other helicopters. But we're going to stay with it for sure and keep an eye on it. But let's see where he goes. We're going to be making our way over to 6th Street Bridge here in just a moment or two.
We've covered stories from time to time where, they've pursued the suspect and an innocent bystander has lost their life as a result of that individual getting agitated and going fast, and errors have been made and accidents have occurred. So that completely makes sense. But I do wonder sometimes when they are in tracking mode, that giving the suspect an opportunity then to make a getaway, and that we've covered those too.
Yes, definitely. And, I think law enforcement, depending on the crime, that also weighs into all of this. In this case, the vehicle has been stolen. So if this gets into a situation where the suspect, quote unquote, gets away, but the vehicle is recovered and nobody is injured, I think that's still a win. That's still a little win for LAPD. There's Pioneer Chicken right there, one of the last ones in Southern California, like I said. And we're going to continue on. So another block or two, and we're going to be on 6th Street Bridge. Had a pedestrian going across there. Don't know if I should have stayed a little bit wider. Don't know if there was maybe the pedestrian had something to say right there as well. But definitely one of these situations where a lot of the folks on the ground clearly know this is happening. Seen a lot of people coming out with cell phones and had their cell phones out just to get that picture. I think this is that's the last intersection. And now we're going to make our way across that 6th Street Bridge. The bridge is iconic for sure. The pursuit, this one maybe not as iconic as we like. But like you said, depending upon what the crime is, if this guy gets away this time and the truck gets recovered, nobody gets injured, I would still consider that a win for law enforcement. But I know a couple of law enforcement guys, and some of them, if they're not putting the bracelets on the suspect, it isn't a win. And but again, they got to weigh it out. This is a carjacking. Nobody was injured.
And no mention of weapons, right?
We haven't heard of any. Yeah, right. So just getting the vehicle back, that'd be a plus. That would be, and also keeping the public safe. So at any rate, we made our way over that 6th Street Bridge, making our way into downtown Los Angeles. Well, what are we doing here? Are we going to make a U-turn? Maybe he's wanted to pick somebody up. I don't know. She clearly had no interest. But anyways.
There's the fact that this car may run out of gas.
True. We don't know. A big diesel like that with the gas prices right now, you wonder if it was full. But if it was, this thing could go quite a distance, I would venture to say. Getting a little bit more traffic. We're in the Arts District right here. Going to get a little bit tighter. And he's going to have to make a turn here, right or left, coming up, because this street becomes a T intersection in just a moment or two. And we'll see where what's he doing right there? Is he? No.
He's
I don't know.
Making those signs again. Oh.
Yeah, making the signs again. You got somebody out there with a cell phone. But look at law enforcement. That's another one. It's like every time this thing comes to a stop, they got to get the doors open. They got to get ready to do their thing. They got to pounce. They got to pounce when the pouncing is available.
Why can't they do a pit maneuver right now? Like at this moment, the car is stopped. Why can't they just ram the car?
Because that wouldn't spin it around. If they would get behind it right there and just kind of bump it, it would not spin it around. It would just kind of block it in. And again, that's agitating the driver. And I know that's kind of a no-no when it comes to pursuits. If this guy would come around in the front and just block him in, so many times have I sat there with folks and they're like, "Why aren't they just blocking him in?" Yeah, that's the voice they make. But that's the thing. You can't. You can't. You just can't do it. It's that officer probably would get reprimanded harshly for making a move like that, even if it was successful.
Do you see him talking to? Okay, I was just trying to wonder if there was someone on the sidewalk he was communicating with, but it seems like there was no one there.
I'm not sure. I was thinking the same thing. This is where he's coming up. He's got to make a right or a left. But yep, there he goes. He made a right turn because otherwise he would have been going into oncoming traffic. So there we go. We're making that turn again. We're off and on, and here we're going again. And we're back on Alameda. No, we're Central. We're on Central right now. But we're heading back kind of where we started when we got off the freeway. So we're headed back up towards the 101, northbound on Central. And again, lucky to say, light traffic, lucky to say this guy is not aggressively angry. He isn't driving like, threatening other drivers. He's communicating the best he can to other folks down there. And as far as what was going on right there might have been somebody else, maybe over by the wall. We couldn't get that shot, believe me. If Dylan could have gotten it, we would have gotten it. There's no doubt about it, but we have to be safe up here in SkyFOX too. But, a lot of folks out there with cell phones. We did see that one guy holding that cell phone up. Maybe it was just for that. But right now, definitely in downtown, and it's going to start getting a little bit more crowded as we're making our way back over towards the 101, edge of the Arts District, downtown Los Angeles. And, this is going to, yep. Now we're going to be making our way into even a more crowded area and see if we can get SkyFOX positioned correctly.
Yeah, the buildings are in the way. That makes it
Be
difficult.
Definitely. And you got people on the rooftops looking at what's going on down there.
Well, I'm sure they hear all the sirens. It's very loud down there.
Yep.
What we don't know also is if they've even identified this individual, if they've been attempting to make contact with him, calling him, maybe talking to him. That happens, of course, during instances like this.
Definitely. I haven't seen a cell phone on him the entire time. Let me get a little bit of a wider shot. I'm not sure if we're in the Japanese. Yeah, we're getting towards the Japanese Village area, and at least it isn't in the district. I mean, this is a district, but I was thinking more like the Fabric District or the down in that area. Ooh, there. Where are we going now? Making another northbound turn. Going to have the DoubleTree is going to be in the way, but definitely could make his way back to the freeway right there. I hope he does. They don't try to do some kind of pit maneuver now all of a sudden now that we can't see him. But, keep coming around. No shucks. I don't know if he went straight or if he made – there he is. Thank goodness.
Okay.
I wasn't sure if he made a turn or not. There he goes. We're back. And, definitely. So wider streets, that's a big plus as we make our way back up towards the 101 right now.
It just seems as though he's just going in circles and has no plan, just randomly driving. And I say this because, as we mentioned before, when we do cover pursuits, many times these suspects go to areas they're familiar with or they're trying to make their getaway, so they go to an area that they know or know someone or something has been orchestrated. But in this case, it just feels as though he's driving in circles.
Definitely driving in circles. You have a little bit of a protest right there. That's going to be the federal building. He did slow down, probably reading the signs.
Check out what was going on.
Can check out what's going on and continuing on. California Highway Patrol, this is one of the things, too. You got to think, it's like we're watching this, am I a little, not frustrated, but it's like come on already. But you got to think what is the law enforcement doing down there, and how they have to constantly be professional, stay with it. Of course, we're just watching it. They are in it. They are part of it. We're watching the pursuit. They are the pursuit. And they've got to keep everybody safe. And this is a daunting task. And I could venture to say it's probably getting a little bit, it's going to wear on them. They're going to start getting exhausted down there. He's not just driving. He's probably making radio calls as he's driving. He's keeping, scanning, making sure that there are no pedestrians in the way, looking for opportunities clearly as well. And, opportunity to pit. I don't think they can. They probably have been told not to. That's going to be my guess, because they have not seen that happen at all. I'm just double checking right there. Yeah, I thought so. Fontana PD's been trailing behind this the entire time as well. I'm sure everybody involved, all those professionals down there, are probably sitting there going, come on already. And Roxia, you did hit on a very right thing. This guy, he probably knows he is just going to wind up in cuffs and going back to jail. And, so every moment he's free, every moment, he's driving that truck and not in cuffs, he's looking at it like, hey, I'm winning right now. As far as, this whole, stopping again, and I know you're going to ask, so let's take a look around while he stays, while he stopped. I don't see anybody down there. I really don't. I kind of wonder who he's making these signs to. Well, maybe it's this guy, but
I feel like, there's obviously something off here, whether it's substance
definitely.
Or some kind of mental health issue, because none of it is obviously making sense. Maybe even communicating with
definitely talking to this guy. Yeah. I would venture to say this person probably has the window down. Let's see if we can say I can't see anything in the rearview mirror. What was that? Did he? Uh-oh. Maybe he's counseling him. Maybe he's just saying, hey, why don't you just pull over, buddy? No,
he
clearly.
He seems to be getting agitated. His speed just picked up.
Yeah, clearly it was not the advice he wanted to hear. Yep. And we don't want to, and honestly, don't want to see that. Don't want to see that. I don't want to see this guy speed up and do something that's, going to hurt somebody else, going to hurt himself, damage that vehicle, any of it. Even if they have insurance, which I'm sure they do. Here you go. So maybe he has a little bit of, no, he doesn't. These guys clearly not interacting with him, but he's definitely trying to interact with them. Welcome to my world, buddy. Welcome to my world.
Can we get any tighter on him, or is this?
Sure.
I'm just trying to
Hang on.
I know it's harder when he's moving, but I'm just trying to look at his signs.
Oh. Actually, his stop and start is what's making it difficult. It's not the movement.
Maybe when he stops, we can go tighter. Hard.
It's the swerving that gets me. There we go. Here we go again. So, but you also got to think LAPD. They got to know this. They definitely know this is going on. I am sure they've all been advised not to get involved. Hey, I'm going to ask Dylan here. Dylan, is it LAPD, the helicopter, involved in this? It's okay. Yeah. So basically, what's going on? I just got an intense briefing from Dylan, quick and appropriate, like it should be. He basically said that the Ontario ship that's has been over it with us this entire time, basically has another 20 minutes of fuel left, and he's going to stay here with it for those 20 minutes of fuel, and then hand it off to LAPD, which is they are here, but not involved in the actual pursuit as of yet. So as soon as he's got to go for fuel, they will the handoff will be done and they will take it over. but getting a little bit more agitated, a little bit more aggressive in that driving right there. But as far as him stopping, haven't seen that. Now, clearly, we're definitely back in the Arts District. I know this area very well. The traffic's probably going to get a little tighter. The streets are definitely going to get a little narrower. And again, there's going to be more people out on the roadway, physical pedestrians, which is also scary. Continuing to going on the wrong side of the road there, isn't he? No, he's not. He was? Okay. But anyway, there we go. He's coming back out. And, at least he's slowing down every time he sees a vehicle and every time he comes to a red light. That's the only positive. But He did run that stop sign. Solid.
It was a California roll.
So, California roll. Yeah, officers don't they don't approve. They do not approve. On this one, that's something else, Roxy. People ask that all the time. It's like, is he going to get charged with every traffic infraction?
The answer is yes.
No, I heard that he does that it's just the big one.
Really?
It's just the big one. It's just
they noted every single violation.
They might note every one of them, but as far as him getting prosecuted by everyone, that I doubt it. I think it's just going to be straight out. Probably the carjacking. That's probably going to be the big one, and then everything else is going to be failure to yield, or obstructing justice, or whatever one that holds more weight. But as far as this guy goes, who knows? Got some other guys out there kind of keeping an eye on what's going on. But look how tight these streets are down there. This is what I'm talking about. And, and these people are trying to get out of the way. Like they hear the lights and sirens. They're trying to do the right thing.
Well, and also, this is another opportunity where we can mention how the location influences the decisions that officers make.
Yeah. Definitely. This is even if they had the okay to pit, they would not do it right there. And as far as me wondering about him taunting law enforcement, he's definitely taunting law enforcement. You saw him just stop right there in front of that CHP vehicle, and so that's definitely him basically saying, nah, you can't get me. But ultimately, he's got to know that he's going to get got, and hopefully it's not going to be. With any kind of injuries to him or anybody else that might be involved.
You mentioned that earlier, this individual likely taking their time because they know in the end he's going to end up back in jail or end up in jail, right? So just enjoying the freedom, you could say. But also, these are times where, for me, I think about when someone has nothing to lose, that makes them more dangerous.
Yep. Definitely makes them more dangerous. And just having that mindset makes it very dangerous. And these are the things that law enforcement deals with all of the time. They realize that these are the people that they come across probably more so than you and I. And they have to realize that that's kind of their mindset. It's like, okay, I'm going to go to jail. While you and I would be like devastated, but at any rate, this is one of those ones. That truck is the problem. That big truck, that heavy vehicle, and him continuing to drive it around, even though he's seemingly slow, still very erratic. Still could become something very dangerous very quickly. And this is the thing. Over these so often. And they're easy, it's low-hanging fruit sometimes to poke fun at them. But you also have to realize this could turn tragic in a blink of an eye. And, you just don't want that to happen. And luckily this hasn't, and hopefully this won't. But the vehicle hasn't stopped yet. And every time we get close to other cars, every time we come up to an intersection, every time we, pull up to somebody and there's that interaction, you just don't know. Maybe somebody's going to say something that really upsets that guy, and and he lashes out, and this becomes something entirely different. And that's what we always worry about when we watch these
Was
things.
that a
And
red
I think
light?
that's one of the reasons why a lot of that might have been.
Yeah.
That might have been. Here we go. This one clearly a red light as that guy's slamming on the brakes.
See? Good thing that person stopped.
Yep.
See, those other drivers have to be on guard because I think about this all the time sometimes when you're at an intersection and the light turns green for you to go. Maybe it's because of the job I have and the pursuits we cover, but I always give it a beat before I go when that light changes because of these types of situations.
Yep. And you and I both probably. I mean, I drive early morning to get to work, and there's pretty much nobody on the roads, and I take a lot of streets before I get to the freeway. And I got to tell you, I always, even if it's green, you always slow down. You're always kind of looking. You're always making sure. I'm looking more for animals than people, but you just got to wonder. Somebody might be, speeding through, running a red light, and I don't want to be the one to find out that it's his bad day. So making my day a bad day too. But as far as this guy goes, let's keep with him. And again, back with those swerving back and forth.
So Stu,
where are we going now?
This has been going on for a while.
Oh, freeway.
Oh, okay. Well, at least from the correct entrance. Okay, back on the.
Yep. Eastbound 10? Oh, come on. You can't tell me he's going back to Fontana. We don't have fuel for Fontana.
and Fontana
Come on,
is
man.
where this all began.
Yes. So let's see where he goes. Oh, I know this on-ramp. He's got the choice of the 60 over here, too. Yeah, so keeping on with the keeping on, but now he's getting back up onto the freeway. He rolled up the window. That's something new.
Well, it's also harder
he has
to see
opportunity
now with
to get on the
the
60.
tinted windows.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll see which one he picks right here. I think this is also an off-ramp again as well. But he's got many options if he gets back onto that interchange. Looks like we are going to be... No, I think he's going to get back off the freeway. I'm saying that because I'm hoping he gets back on the freeway.
He's off,
No, he's getting back off the freeway. There we go.
See, there's just no
Santa Fe.
Rhyme or reason.
Rhyme to read.
Right.
Yeah, definitely not.
But so much time
definitely
has
not.
passed.
And again,
and all we see are the CHP cruisers just, following along. So I'm just trying to figure out the strategy here, right? Like, is it just to keep following along until he runs out of gas or he himself decides to give up? No attempts have been made thus far.
Yes.
Of
that for real, I would venture to say is the plan. I really truly believe it, and I don't mean it in any kind of put down. It's that is the plan. That's probably the safest action that they can take with the best outcome. I don't know if the pit maneuver is basically frowned upon because of the size of the vehicle, or if somebody one of their bosses or a sergeant, whoever it might be, said no, we're just not going to do it. Or possibly they don't have. You have to be pit approved, meaning you've got to go to classes. It isn't like they just say, okay, go do this. Maybe none of those officers down there are pit approved. But you'd think by this time that they would have been able to get somebody that is pit approved into the rotation and make that happen. So again, this just continues on. We're definitely getting a tour of the downtown East LA areas for sure today. Now that's the Sears Soto building. Yep, it is. And making our way through Boyle Heights again, I would venture to say. Central City is what they're calling it. But we're going to be we're just south of Boyle Heights, cutting across, wrong side of the road, making a slow decision, but it looks like we're going to be turning up and heading over towards the Boyle Heights area. Again, you got to wonder. I would venture to say that officer that's in that lead vehicle with the K9, he's probably chomping at the bit and wondering why he can't do that pit maneuver. But right now, like you've been saying, this has all been, let's see where this goes. Look at the kids down there going by a school.
Right.
Everybody's running to
They're running to see what the
pursuit.
commotion is. Stu, how much fuel do you have up in SkyFOX?
Oh, don't tell me that, Dylan. We have roughly. I'm going to say maybe. Oh, here we go. Here we go. See, they listen to us. They listen to it. They totally listen to. Yep, they listen to us. They listen to us. They are totally listening to us. Look at that. Look at that. Oh,
wow.
Yeah, that was like a ballet. That was so smooth. No. Oh. No. And not under a tree. Don't do it under a tree.
Oh, boy.
Okay. All right. Here we go. I was so proud of him. I was so proud. So let's see what happens now. Now that we've seen it,
right?
The suspect, cat's out of the bag. So the suspect knows that's it. That's a possibility. It's a possibility that might happen again. Let's see where he goes. Are they going to do it again? Most likely. It's just where can. Yeah, it has to be this, that. Yeah, it has to be. Everything's got to be clear. They got to be in, and nobody else around, and a certain speed. But boy, that Tahoe, yeah, he's got some damage now. But CHP, they're my heroes. They really are. But anyway, so back on the bridge, probably not going to do it here.
Yeah.
But boy, what a great job that was. That was really, really sweet. Yeah. Did a little damage to the truck. There's the California Highway Patrol helicopter. Oh, was that Ontario? That was still Ontario. That was Ontario PD.
So you were saying, Stu, as far as fuel?
Oh, we'll probably have another 15 to 20 on station before we have to peel off to go and get some of that Jet A. And believe me when I tell you, even though this is, I'm invested. I'm definitely invested now, especially with that pit maneuver. I want to see this come to an end as much as the law enforcement does. They're keeping their distance again. They're waiting for that right moment, and it has to really be no other vehicles around, and a wide enough street, probably near an intersection. There's a lot of things have to happen to make that happen. Going underneath the 10, and as far as the driver of that car, like I said, now he kind of knows. It's when he taunts them and he drives slow, he realizes there's a possibility that there might be another pit maneuver. Let's see what's going on down there. Yeah, they're not going to do it with all these cars right there.
Well, yeah, there's no room. Trying to see the damage on that cruiser. Can't really make it out.
Yeah, I see. It looks like he's got a pretty good push bar, but definitely is going to have some paint swaps and some damage to the pickup truck. Hopefully, the driver has full coverage insurance. But again, it's one of those ones. It's like, were we expect? I wasn't expecting that. I thought it was just going to come to an end. Yeah, that driver understands the Prindle. Prindle being the gear shift. Oh, look at the damage on the truck. Yeah, he's going to need a new bed for sure. Yeah. Slowing down again. Now he's back to that whole taunt.
Right.
Clearly talking to somebody. Got to get his message out. And
still close behind him, following closely.
Okay. So, and just for, not that it really affects us personally, but the helicopters are definitely swapping out now. LAPD is going to be the ones calling the pursuit from now on in. And, again, this is just not the spot where they can get up behind him there and do that pit, because there's just so many other vehicles nearby. Look at this guy. It's like, hey, I got places to be. I got my cell phone out. I got my picture.
Who's that?
I'm gonna make it on the. That's just somebody with a cell phone that
God.
basically drove by the officers to get the shot. There you go. Yeah.
Not
I wonder if
smart.
not smart at all. And as far as California Highway Patrol goes, they probably are just like they got bigger fish to fry right now. But not what they want to see. And it just continues on.
The signals, the hand gestures, just
Yep.
very jittery.
More of the same.
Jittery, right.
Yep. Simon Desk also asking me what our fuel situation is.
You said 15, 20 minutes, maybe?
Yeah, maybe a solid 15 now.
Okay.
Getting back on the freeway. Yeah.
Here we go. Back on.
Right.
I guess this truck had enough gas.
Yeah, the truck's seems to have plenty of fuel.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as the pit goes on the freeway, that one I don't think is going to happen.
Do we see that?
I've seen it one time.
Okay, I don't think I've seen that ever on the freeway.
I actually saw that one time, and it was crazy, and it was LAPD. But at any rate, now they've swapped it out. You've got a straight-out cruiser. You don't have the big SUV anymore. Lights and sirens for sure. At least everybody down there knows. And that one is definitely going to. Which one is that? Oh, that's the Ontario police ship. They're about to leave. That's what I've been told. They're on their way out, and there is our pursuit right there. So that's the Ontario ship that's been over it pretty much as long as we've been over it. They were how we found it, and heads up was from our assignment desk, and then that helicopter is how we actually found it. But again, moving pretty slow down there. The cruiser. Probably not going to be doing a pit maneuver, and it looks like we're transitioning onto the 5. Is that the 5 freeway, or the 60?
The 60.
60.
Yeah,
we're
60
making
west.
back onto the 60 right now. Yeah.
But when we're off the freeway, you're saying that cruiser wouldn't attempt a pit maneuver?
Maybe. I think the SUV would be better at it just because of the the size and the traction. But those cruisers are more than capable. Trust me. And with that big push bar, they're safe. Oh, made a little bit of a. He must have heard us talking about the 5. He changed his mind right there. Well, now we're on the 5.
Okay.
So, and in a lot of traffic, as I understand it, Dylan is telling me that it is not going anywhere fast. So, we're going to probably be sitting there in traffic again. California Highway Patrol tasked with bringing this guy to a safe end. Carjacking in Fontana, that's where it was all started. And a lot of freeway driving, but then again, we did a lot of urban driving down in the Boyle Heights, East LA, downtown Los Angeles, and some other of the districts out there. But again, have not been able to bring this thing to a stop. And all this traffic, it's probably just going to be frustrating for law enforcement, frustrating probably for us as well. But the drivers around them all doing what they're supposed to do. It's kind of interesting. They're probably hearing those lights and sirens, people trying to move out of the way. This guy is stopping, which is predictable. That's what law enforcement wants you to do, something that is predictable. It's got a big open area right there, but probably not. And again, these guys, these law enforcement, they are trained. They are looking for the opportunity, that's for sure. And they're also looking for it has to be safe. That's it. It has to be safe. And will they do it again? Probably. If they did it once, they'll probably do it again. Seeing this guy, look at him getting all antsy right there. I don't blame him. I really don't blame him.
Do you see if the traffic has been stopped at all? Ongoing traffic?
As far as law enforcement?
Yes.
No, they haven't done. There's a little bit of a traffic break behind them, so these officers are going to basically just kind of drive the speed. I mean, they're following behind, so it's like a rolling roadblock. But that driver has the ability to catch up to the pack. And that's what it seems like happening again right now, is like they're catching up to these. He's speeding up a little bit, getting back up into traffic. Everybody's trying to get out of the way. But yeah, it's like, this is so frustrating, so frustrating. Now it's getting frustrating for me knowing that the clock is running. And like I said, you know, I'm invested. I want to see this thing come to an end just like everybody else. You know, California Highway Patrol, they're paid to bring this thing to an end and safely. But right now, though, this is we're just going to kind of run that clock out, keep an eye on them as long as we can. Dylan is definitely going to keep us safe. If we go past that 15-minute mark, it's because he knows what he's doing and making plans to get us the fuel that we need. As far as somebody else coming to relieve us, that might be happening, though. I mean, as far as coverage goes, you guys might.
Well, speaking of coverage, I do want to give people a heads up because it's 2:00. We'll be doing the Belmont Stakes Festival. That's what viewers will see, but we will continue the streaming on online. So that's what is happening shortly. Right. And
I think our PM shift might be arriving and taking over. That's what I was thinking. So that it'll still be streaming somewhere.
Yes.
But sad to say, I won't be over it watching it. I mean, I might be watching it because, like I said, I've gotten invested. You've gotten my attention. I want to see this thing end just like everybody else does. But as far as this guy goes,
it's going to be another attempted pit maneuver or him running out of gas because, you know, with traffic now, he's slowed down, which I suppose is a good thing, and it's just a waiting game.
How does this guy not have carpal tunnel syndrome? I mean, my gosh, I could not move my hands that much, that long. He should have been a pianist or something. Anyways.
So, Stu, I want to just let viewers know in about 10 seconds they will be watching the Belmont Stakes Festival right here on Channel 11. If you want to continue watching us streaming with this pursuit that's ongoing, we will be streaming, and that's where you can catch it.
Well, Roxy, it was fun. I enjoyed it.
All right, so here we are streaming, continuing. Our coverage. Don't say goodbye to me. We're just off television. No, we're still together.
Cool. I'm getting a little bit. Yes. I'm getting information that the other helicopter is locked and loaded and ready to go, and they're just waiting for the person in the back seat, and then they will be on their way to join us. And you are going to get to see what happens, but I am going to have to watch on the internet. I'm going to be a viewer just like everybody else. And also, we lost the IFB once again. If we can get a nod to our friends in TOC to reset it, would be awesome. I'll hit SkyFOX, TOC. We lost the IFB.
Okay, Stu, while you work on your IFB, I'll let viewers know if they're just joining us here on streaming. We've been following this pursuit of a stolen pickup truck. We believe, as far as we've heard, that there was no weapons involved, so it might have been just a crime of opportunity. Perhaps the car had the keys in it. Perhaps the engine was running. This individual stepped in, and there we have it. We've been on this since about, close to 12:30, but I believe this began in Fontana around 11. And the driver just doesn't seem to have any intention to stop. A bit of taunting with the law enforcement throughout this pursuit, just the windows down, making hand gestures, some kind of signals. I have no idea if it means anything. We certainly don't know, but it's just been a very fidgety type of pursuit. I guess that would be really the best way to describe it, Stu. On and off, slowing down, speeding up, going in circles, just no end in sight.
No end in sight, indeed. And as far as all those hand gestures go, like I said, piano, guitar, anything. I mean, it's like my wrists are kind of hurting just watching all of that activity. And it really, truly has been nonstop. He's been communicating the entire time he's been driving. One-handed, two-handed. It has been non-stop. As far as California Highway Patrol, non-stop for them as well. They have done a little swapping out right there. Those SUVs that did that pit maneuver, they've kind of fallen back. They've got two cruisers now behind it. Where are we? We're on the South 710. I was going to say, that's also probably not the best choice. I could have told you there's going to be traffic here, and there definitely is. But when he's driving slow like that, traffic could actually get ahead of him if it was moving faster than he is, and it's not. I mean, take a look at that. Some of these vehicles moving super, super slow. I know because we are definitely a good family out here at Fox. Had Kevin whispering in my ear, not like that, and saying, hey, you got a fixed wing, a CHP fixed wing flying over us also. So they've got two aircraft, or it's LAPD following along. They've got their helicopter. Just CHP. Yeah. So and you got a plane up high. So they're the ones that are keeping an eye on this. They probably are thinking this might make its way back to Fontana. That's why they incorporated that aircraft as well, meaning the plane, not the helicopter. As far as him going slow, like I said, he's probably been listening to us, because there you go. And here's the thing.
So
Here's
slow.
the crux, isn't it?
Yeah.
Look at that. Look at that. Get your ducks in a row. Get there. Pit him. You could. He
was going 5 miles an hour there.
But anyways. Yeah, and he got that freeway wide open for him there for a minute or two. So as long as he's up close to these other vehicles, I'm pretty sure they're definitely not going to.
He wasn't.
Yeah, he wasn't. But again, am I making excuses for law enforcement? I'm going to make an excuse for law enforcement. I'm going to throw it out there. Here we go. Maybe they didn't do it because they didn't want to have an incident on the freeway blocking all lanes on the southbound 710, because they want to keep the traffic moving the best they can.
That is fair. We've dealt, certainly on the 405, a mess today where people were stuck for 2 hours plus.
Yes. 2 hours plus. Yeah, that would have been brutal. This probably wouldn't have taken 2 hours, but it would have taken some time. Anyways, I don't know if that was the reason, or perhaps it was something else, but they didn't take advantage of it, and of course there's probably some sort. Yeah, they know the reason why. We can only guess. That's probably where it goes with all of this.
Right.
As far as that suspect, we can only guess what he's doing too. He is just going to be kind of moving along here very slowly, like he has been. The stop-and-go activity continues.
I don't think the suspect himself knows what he's doing, Stu.
No, I put money on that. He literally is doing the, I know I'm going to jail, I'm just going to do as much of this as I can until this truck runs out of gas or something happens and it comes to a stop. But these guys right here, I'm pretty sure this guy has been with it for a good amount of time, probably almost as long as we have, and you've got to think he's frustrated as well, especially with that clean pit and then not being able to bring it to a stop.
Oh, he's trying
looks
to
like
go
we are
around
doing
it.
something different.
Yeah, he's stuck there.
Yeah. Don't you hate it when people get in the gore point like that?
Yes.
And then just kind of push their way in front of you?
I did
You're
that
just like,
this
come
morning,
on,
though.
man.
I had to get
Was that
to
you
work.
or Roxia?
That was me. I had to get to work.
Yeah, well, I hear you. Did you apologize, though? Were you like doing
No,
excuse me,
I just
excuse me,
avoided
sorry?
eye contact.
That's the way, too. I usually apologize. I try to do the wave, the friendly wave, tell somebody thank you. But yeah.
I see his hands. I still see his hand gestures there on the other side. The hands are just out of that window.
There you go. Yep. Okay,
I
so
really feel
for
like
you,
it
Araxia,
means nothing. I feel like it means nothing. It just seems so random.
Right? Gosh, I'm telling you, my fingers are hurting just watching it. It's not. You think I'm being sarcastic or joking? I'm being serious. That hurts. But I can tell you, the other our relief is en route, so it's probably just their flight time to get here. So, but now Dylan's saying that it's getting down to the wire for us. So we might have to leave in between. I don't want to leave you here all by yourself.
Oh, it's okay. My relief is
having to talk to everybody
too.
Okay, all right. So,
it might be something we do together.
We'll kind of. Well, yeah, I was going to say we'll bail at the same time. But the pursuit continues, and if you know anybody that's on the 710, you let them know. Text them. Say, hey, don't look at your text. Hopefully, you have a car that does hands-free, and you can let them know that there's a pursuit coming your way.
Well,
and don't try to videotape it, or you.
It's interesting that
that's not good
back
either.
on the freeway in the past, his speeds have been faster and he's been more erratic, but it seems like he's slowed down quite a bit.
Definitely. But he continues with that weird jerking of the wheel, back and forth, doing the washing machine in there. I don't know what he's thinking. But look, everybody. They're asking for a recap. So if you guys are watching right now, what's going on is this is pursuit. Started in Fontana, carjacking vehicle. Been on the freeways for most of the time, but did make its way all the way into the downtown Los Angeles area. We were in a lot of tight streets. There was a lot of slow moving, a lot of hand gestures, and all that damage you see right there, that was from a pit maneuver. It was clean, it was sweet, and it was perfect. But that suspect basically put it in reverse and made that move and got away. That pursuit continued on off the side streets, clearly back onto freeways. We've seen the 10, we've seen the 5, we've seen the 101, and now we're on the 710 South. This pursuit's continuing, though. California Highway Patrol, they're the ones that have taken it over. Fontana PD, they are still with it. They'll probably be the ones that take that suspect into custody. No injuries as of yet. Hopefully it stays like that. That suspect continues to elude officers and basically, I would say, doing some showboating. That's my recap.
Ready. All right, everybody. Stu, thank you for that. Stu, just so you know, Araxia Carpadian, she is concluding her work here at Fox 11 for the week. We appreciate her and all that she did for this pursuit. This is Marla Tejas now jumping on to the Fox local stream. It is just about 2:10 in the afternoon. I am catching up to what you've been watching with us on the Fox local stream, this pursuit that has been going on for hours at this point. You just got a big recap, nice recap from Stu Mundel up in SkyFOX. This started in Fontana. Now we're in East LA, a carjacking suspect in this truck. There was a pit at some point throughout this pursuit, a technique that's often used in these situations, but that didn't stop this truck. So spun it out for a bit, but then it kept on going.
We're going to go to Long Beach?
Stu, can you hear me?
We'll stay for a little bit. Yes, definitely, Marla. I'm sorry.
No.
Yeah, we definitely can hear you. And and we're going to make our way down to Long Beach. So you're going to have us for just a little bit longer, if you like. But we're definitely going to make our way down to Long Beach. That's what we're going to get some fuel. And I just got a text from Tim Conway Jr. basically saying he's watching it and he feels my pain not being able to see the end of this, and he's hoping it's going to be coming to an end as well. But yeah, that damage that you see right there, that's what you were talking about. That was the pit maneuver. If you watched it, it was nice, wasn't it? It was just perfect, and just not what we wanted to see, though. The guy getting in that, putting it in reverse. Oh, what's he doing right now? Maybe we are. No,
I thought we were going
to see the end right there. Yeah.
Do we know
more cat and mouse? More.
Let me ask you a few questions before I lose you. All right. And first of all, we appreciate Tim Conway. Sure. Always. It's funny you bring him up just because I was on KFI with Gary this morning from 9 to 12. Then I got on, made my way down to the station here, so here I am. So I'm glad to be able to join you, Stu, before you have to refuel. So at what point did this pit maneuver happen? And also, just one suspect, as far as we know, inside the vehicle?
I can pretty much confirm that it is just the driver inside that vehicle. We've looked around. Somebody's going to say, well, there's tinted windows. There could be somebody laying down. There could be a lot of things. But as far as another person inside that vehicle, I would say 99.99% there is just the driver. The pit maneuver was actually done by that, not that one. I wonder if they're even still here. It was one of the big Tahoes, and it was on the surface streets in downtown. There was one of these right there. There was definitely a K9 unit, and it was really, like I said, as far as execution, it was perfect. You know, there was really no skidding, no nothing, and it just was that bump, and the other car came alongside. They did the block in, but they didn't. Nobody was behind it, and the driver, it did stop for a few moments there, and then the driver just kind of threw it in reverse and then got out of it. I know we're streaming right now, so turning tape might be difficult, or we don't do it, but at any rate, it was really something to see. Stay tuned, watch for the later shows. You're definitely going to see it. But as far as that driver, he's just been driving really slow. He's been doing a lot of these hand gestures out of the windows. Like I said, he should have been a guitarist or maybe played piano. The movement has been non-stop since we picked this up almost more than an hour ago. When the window's up right now, I venture to say he's not doing those hand movements. But look at that, just driving kind of slow, like you said, cat and mouse. The officers, me being frustrated, probably not that important. Those officers being frustrated, I feel their pain, especially some of the ones that have basically been with it since the beginning. And Fontana PD, they are trailing behind, and they are going to take this guy into custody. They're the ones that are going to be wind up doing the actual custody, the paperwork, as it would be when it comes to a stop. I'm looking for them. So they got to be around somewhere. As far as go ahead.
Is this a combo then, mutual support between Fontana and CHP, or at this point just CHP in the lead?
As far it's funny. As far as policy goes, the way it's always been explained to me is there is no multitask pursuit. It's either one or the other. So Fontana probably would have had to say we're giving the pursuit to the California Highway Patrol. But they can track behind, and when it's over, they can kind of pull up and say, "All right, we'll take the suspect back to Fontana. We'll do the paperwork." But as far as the actual chase goes, as I always was told, one agency. And if we get a law enforcement person on board, maybe Tim. The other Tim Lynn might call in. He can clarify that. But as far as it goes, that's the way it's always been explained to me.
Right.
It's like that's one agency, one pursuit, one agency.
Right. That's what I was thinking. And when you mentioned Fontana, I was thinking, that's interesting if they're still a part of it. But yeah, CHP has taken it over. It originated in Fontana, where this is what we call a carjacking suspect. In other words, reportedly stole this truck. Looks to be some sort of a work truck, perhaps. Damage significant there on the driver's side. That's because that's where pit maneuver was, I would say, not just attempted, it happened. It was a successful pit maneuver in that It stopped the truck for a moment, but then did not disable the vehicle, clearly, because here we go. Now we're taking an off-ramp here. This is the 710. We're in the Compton area now. It looks like where are we going? Long Beach?
Yep, the Long Beach, it's the Long Beach exit. We're definitely in Compton. I do love the Compton. Got to give a shout out to Miss Bucky. She's probably not watching on the internet, but I got family out here. Anyways, we'll see where this goes. Definitely slow moving, but that doesn't mean it's coming to an end. This guy's been driving slow the whole time. Maybe he was trying to conserve fuel. You know what fuel prices are. Even if you stole it, you just got to be careful. Again, almost stopping right there. Is he teasing us? Is he teasing the law enforcement? Or is he just kind of doing I don't know which way to go. But there he goes again. Now we're off driving once again. They're making our way on the surface streets. Okay. I got the streets up right there, yeah. So definitely not getting onto Long Beach Boulevard. And we're going to just keep, it definitely seems to be very industrial. This is, and I don't know if you were watching earlier on, but there you go, wrong side of the road. Yep. That's not unusual for him. Red lights, he has stopped at some. He ran through a couple of others. I haven't seen any close calls.
Let me ask you this.
But definitely a lot. Go ahead.
Have we heard anything? Of course, law enforcement always assumes that someone is armed, but do we know anything about this particular suspect? Has anything been gleaned thus far?
We have heard pretty clear in the very, very beginning, no weapons seen. That's the best that they can say because you just don't know.
Right.
But no weapons seen, and that's kind of what led me to believe that maybe the crime of opportunity. We don't know how this vehicle was taken. Maybe it was a strong arm. Maybe this guy came up, threatened the guy. Maybe there was a physical altercation. I don't know. But, a lot of times this is just somebody's, keys are in it, sitting at the gas station, guy jumps in, takes off. Is that a carjacking? I don't know. I don't know I don't know the legal. I don't know the legal differences, but it could be. You look at how close he's getting. Look at how close they're all getting. It's like a pack of wolves chasing a wounded sheep. It's like, are they gonna pounce? Are they gonna do it? This would be the place,
right?
But
that's why
he has to be moving.
We're coming to a stop. I was wondering why CHP, because usually CHP has more of an aggressive strategy when it comes to these pursuits. So I'm wondering if they know. Well, certainly they know more than we do about what they're dealing with, perhaps behind the wheel. But why at this point, when it seems to be a wide open street down below under the freeway here, why they're not just being a little bit more aggressive to finally bring this to an end?
Well, I can say that there's different agencies, and they all have a different policy. They have different bosses that they have to answer to. Maybe theirs is saying, hey, don't do it again. Or I think more logically would be the vehicle has to be moving at a certain speed. It has to be going fast enough for it to slide. When it's moving slow like that, maybe it's not enough speed to get it to spin that tail around. Right. Maybe there isn't enough room for another officer to get around it to block it in. Maybe they're like, okay, the guy knows you can use reverse. Let's block the back this time around. There's a lot going on down there. When we watch these, it's always easy to armchair it. And these guys, for sure, they've got to answer for all their actions, much like I do sometimes. But these guys, it's much more serious. Whatever they do, they're going to have to answer for it. And even if it's successful, if it's outside of policy, they could get in trouble. I know. It sounds ludicrous, but that is the world we live in, and that is the world of law enforcement.
Right. So here we are. If you're just joining us on the Fox Local Stream, this is a pursuit that's been underway for hours involving what we're told is a carjacking suspect. So carjacking involves somebody else involved in that person was threatened with violence and that vehicle was then taken. I'm just making the differentiating between just a stolen vehicle and a carjacking suspect. Here we are in Compton on the streets of. This started all the way in Fontana. And look at this, right next to a daycare or a school, perhaps some sort of a summer camp. Hard to tell, but nonetheless, kids are going, what's going on?
I wonder if that's going to inspire that young lad to be an officer someday. Anyways, they're just going right by him, and it is a spectacle of some point. We can poke a lot of fun at these things, but it is definitely still very, very dangerous. We pointed this out earlier on. This guy could, hammer that gas or not pay attention. Somebody could step out in front of it. It could come to a tragic end very, very quickly, and that is one of the reasons why we always have to have some sort of composure when we watch these pursuits and talk about them. So slow moving. And this is the first time I've actually seen him in a neighborhood. This is so unusual. It's trash day for sure. But it makes you wonder if maybe he knows this area, maybe this is his location, because a lot of times when these chases go to a neighborhood like this, that vehicle, they'll throw it in park, the door will pop open, or not throw it in park, and the door will pop open, and they'll take off running. This could be what's going on right here. They have 2 K9 units behind there, and I'm being told Dylan is being very polite and saying, Stu, if you start wrapping it up, we need to go to Long Beach for fuel. So I'm going to start to wrap it up. I'm going to hand it off to you. I'm sure I'm handing it to capable hands, that's for sure. And,
well, I'm no Stu Mundel, but I'll do my best. I just want to
see how this ends.
I'll do my best. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you to you and your crew
Thank
up there.
goodness for that.
Stu, you're so funny.
Anyways, thank you for that.
We appreciate your levity.
All right,
always.
we're going to go.
All right.
we're going to go and we're going to hand it off to our PM colleagues. See you guys later.
All right, Stu. You have a great weekend. Thank you so much, and you be safe on the roads getting home. So we still have these live pictures from SkyFOX, and we're working it out on how we will transfer to another. We will have a live look. So stick with us here on the Fox Local stream. This is underway in Compton now, but this started a long ways away in Fontana. Stu made the observation that maybe this suspect, who is, by the way, a carjacking suspect, maybe they have ties to the Compton area. Maybe, maybe not. It's hard to tell given just the distance between where this started and where it is now. And very slow going on these surface streets, which of course is a blessing because serious bad things could happen. All right, we've pulled over. We've seen this before. We've seen this multiple times. The cat and mouse game. This has happened not just in this pursuit, but many pursuits that we've covered over the years. This is a strategy in which case this happens, where the suspect then picks up speeds and thinks that they're going to eventually get away from authorities, but rarely does that happen. So we're sticking with it here. This is on Fertile Street and Wright Road in Compton. CHP right now is the lead agency. This started at 12:30. So I mentioned this has been going on for hours, almost 2 hours, in fact. Oh, spike strips deployed. Spike strips not quite far enough. Guns drawn. The driver, the suspect, obviously saying, okay, you didn't get me and I'm going to keep going. So we saw the spike strips deployed. Now we're boxed in. So this was definitely planned. We got a boxed in suspect, carjacking suspect. Started in Fontana, could be ending here in Compton. All right, fully boxed in. Stu, do we have you still?
Yeah, you still have us. And I'm telling you, I just wanted to see this thing come to an end. The reverse lights are off. That's a big plus. Probably putting it in the park. I see some hands coming out. You have to understand, we kind of fell farther behind the pack, so this is kind of a little bit of an alarm shot. But definitely wanted to see this come to an end. And you got to hand it to them. You got to hand it to California Highway Patrol. They did it. They did it. And they did it safely and calmly. You got some folks out there in Compton. Everybody's got a cell phone. Everybody's got to see this thing coming to an end. This one coming to an end in front of their house out here in this Compton neighborhood. Actually, Linwood. Okay, got to give Linwood a shout out. But the door is definitely open, and he is kind of doing his own thing. Dog! Oh, they used the dog!
The canine came out.
Oh, yes. Oh, the canine came out. Man, that dog has been riding Marla pretty much for over an hour.
Wow.
So, he needed to stretch his legs.
Out the bit,
he needed
literally.
to stretch his legs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so the canine was deployed, got that suspect as soon as the suspect got out of that vehicle.
Yep. And you know what? You have to take the other shot. I love you guys, but we definitely have to go. Dylan is like, we're totally at the end of the lens, but we saw it come to an end, and that's what I needed to do. Thank you, guys. Another pursuit in the bag.
All right, let's see. Do we have the other shot? I think we're going to be getting it soon enough. We do? Okay, so we are seeing the other shot right now. So while this camera is working to get to the scene in Linwood, we're going to stick with this and just stay with us here in the Fox Local stream. So that was a pretty dramatic end to what was a dramatic pursuit. This started in Fontana, 12:30, a carjacking suspect. Fontana police, the first to pick it up. Here we are almost 2 hours later at 2:25. This pursuit coming to an end in Compton, Linwood. And right now, I'm getting a look at a direct shot of it and seeing that the suspect is down on the ground. That canine was deployed. Officers are putting, clearly trying to put the cuffs on this suspect. And there are several officers on this suspect who is down on the ground. One canine officer is now holding that canine back. And it looks like just now we're getting those cuffs on. CHP officers, included still with their helmets on, are in fact doing that work. And suspect in custody, just about. Yeah, and I'm just to be clear, thank you so much. Executive producer Joya, thank you for the live look here. This is what I'm seeing with you along here on the stream. So this is a neighborhood in Linwood. This brought out a whole lot of people with the cell phones. You can see them on the bottom of your screen as they capture this live right in their front yard, literally. And Here we go. Suspect is now being picked up essentially in cuffs. Hard to get a good look at that suspect, a male suspect, we can tell you that. And they haven't yet cleared the vehicle, but it looks to be that he would be the only person there. That's what we were hearing. And now it's just a matter of seconds until the suspect will be put into this CHP cruiser. So a long way to travel to be put in handcuffs. Again, started in Fontana, ending in Linwood, adjacent to Compton here. And we thank our Stu Mundel for his coverage all afternoon, Araxia Carpathian. And now look at this particular area. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or so black and whites. And this procedure continues to happen. What they will do from here, this is all pretty typical, they will then search the vehicle, the truck, and see if there's anyone in it. It doesn't appear to be. Find out if there's any weapons, whatever evidence the suspect left behind. They will then clear that vehicle, and then that scene officially will be cleared, meaning no more threat to the public, danger, it's all over with. So we look forward to seeing that. That's just, what, seconds, if not just minutes away. Nonetheless, the investigation will continue, and we'll have to find out more details about if, in fact, someone was carjacked and involved in this, or if this was just a parked vehicle that was stolen. We're still working to get that information. Of course, we'll have much more for you coming up on the evening newscast. But in the meantime, look at all those people who live in the neighborhood. This is not something you see every day, literally in your front yard. So they're out there with their cell phones capturing all of this happen. And as far as I understand, no one else was hurt. No other vehicles were damaged in this pursuit. Okay, you can see, I'm just guessing here. Suspect maybe 20s, maybe 30s. Seems to be a relatively young man. And here we go with I'm not sure what the plastic bag is for. Maybe he has some paraphernalia on him. Maybe it's a weapon they found. We'll have to see if what's put into the plastic bag. And they are certainly searching him in shorts, checking his pockets, checking his socks. And coming out of his socks, yeah, I mean personal items, but I'm not sure if it's hard to tell exactly what that is. He could have had time to try and hide this during that almost 2-hour pursuit. So see what else they find, if anything. A pit maneuver was deployed at one point during this. It didn't stop the suspect, kept going. Significant damage to that truck as the officer continues to pat the suspect down very, very thoroughly. Now working around his sweatshirt collar there to see if there's anything in there. It looks like they seem to be focusing right there. I'm not sure what else you could hide, but who knows? Maybe, chain, maybe a necklace that they've taken off. And now he will be put in the back of this California Highway Patrol cruiser. They're getting him situated. Maybe they've since cleared the actual truck, the vehicle itself, but not quite sure. But suspect officially now in custody. It's going to be interesting when we follow up with these pursuits to see, sort of the backstory. Does this guy have a rap sheet? Was there an innocent driver involved who was actually carjacked? Who does this truck belong to? But good news is, again, no one was hurt along the way because this traveled a whole lot of miles from Fontana to here in Linwood. This lady out with her dog and young kids out to witness this on this Friday afternoon, just after 2:30 here in the Los Angeles area. If you're watching on the Fox local stream, thank you so much for being here. We stream every day at this time, so this is one of those things that you'll catch on our stream on any given moment, whether it's a pursuit or yesterday at this time, it was the MacArthur Park drug raid with the federal agents and LAPD, a joint effort there. So this is all happening live and all the kids out. School is out for summer, and so they weren't in class today. And They must have easily gotten word that in their neighborhood this was happening. Officially coming to an end in Linwood. Again, this started in Fontana. I'm trying to remember off memory the exact location in Linwood for you locals on the stream with us. I remember a right road that may have been a frontage road earlier, but nonetheless, it was brilliant what the strategy that CHP finally deployed, and that was they threw out a set of spike strips as this suspect was trying to make a right on this turn here, right when that road was coming to a T. The spike strips missed, but in the meantime, the other officers boxed this suspect in, and this is basically the end result. Now we see the fire department rolling up to the scene as well. So all sorts of law enforcement.
Dog bite. Dog bite.
Oh, dog bite. Thank you. Kevin Takumi, who's often, you've heard his voice if you're a regular viewer here. He has flown in SkyFOX for many years, and he's here in the newsroom today, and he said the paramedics are rolling on to the scene because of the dog bite. There was a canine that helped take down that suspect. All right. We are flying away, and we will have the very latest tonight on the Fox 11 News starting at 5 o'clock. But always check the Fox Local app for the most updated information.
Does that mean anything to you? Big, right? Joe is happy, so I want to keep him happy just in case he gets violent. He's happy. And I repealed the Biden-era EPA, just the crazy waters of the United States. It sounds so nice. It's the worst rule that you've ever had. Waters of the, how could it be nicer? What a beautiful title. It was like taking your land away from you. It was horrible. And I totally repealed it. And there are some people, you know, when I did that repeal, I had a lot of farmers and contractors, builders, house builders, in my office. And I announced the repeal in front of them. I signed it. And these are tough guys. In fact, they look like him, just smaller. And who isn't smaller? I think everybody's smaller. But no, they look like...